Okay, you're on.
Okay, it's Monday, March 23rd. I'm going to call the Selectmen's meeting to order. The first order of business is to salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is the election of officers. I'm going to make a motion that we continue our tradition and pass the metaphorical gavel onto that selectman who has a much more granular look at government.
My grandmother was in Claremont.
Nominate Lloyd Wood.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I'm going to turn the meeting over.
Well, why don't you continue just for continuity's sake, because
What?
I'll take over next meeting. You continue as chairman for the rest of this meeting, yes.
Okay. Public input. Seeing none, I guess we get to review and approval of the minutes. Tuesday, March 10th, public session at 9. On for ever and ever.
I have no issues.
Yeah, I don't have any, no additions or changes. I'll move approval as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Non-public from March 10th, 8:50.
I'm all set.
Move approval.
All those in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
We don't need these non-public, do we? Or do they have to stay
No,
non-public?
I'll move that we unseal them.
Second.
All those in favor?
Would yes.
Aye. Okay, March 10th at 10:49.
I have no issues.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And March 10th at 11:05.
I have no problem.
Move approval.
All those in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. And March 10th at 1:30.
I have no problem.
I'll move approval.
All those in favor?
Second. Would. Yes.
Aye.
And I'll move that we unseal the 1:30.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's it, isn't
Yep, I think that's it for that day.
it? First appointment is Clay Gallagher.
Aye. Aye.
The first, this is our ongoing decision on how we're going to change the operation for the Corona-19 pandemic that's going on.
What's your recommendation?
The recommendation is in reference to the original email I sent out a week and a half ago, and it's to do option 2 of that, and I'll review that on the first sheet here. Just as a little bit of a background, we put the original recommendation forward with 2 options in it. One is a partial with selected items we could still do. And option 2 would be to keep the facility open and only do household solid waste, which would basically then 100% comply with both of our tasks. If you look on the top sheet that I gave you, basically the 2 tasks we have, we are mandated by the state to provide disposal of household solid waste. That is our primary mission. All the other stuff that we do there is selected. It's selected in the service, whatever we provide. So our task mission, which would fall under minimum essential operations, is to provide and continue to provide either via curbside pickup, commercial guys picking up, or us to provide the compactors for household solid waste disposal. That's our attachment state. Second, with the pandemic going on and the federal guidance and the state guidance and what everybody else is complying with, is to perform the best of our ability to slow the spread of the virus by limiting personal space issues and by eliminating any possible methods of transmission of the virus from people to others, or the transmission of the virus to others from material they bring into the station. The overall goal is to keep our residents and our employees as safe as humanly possible and still accomplish our mission, both of those tasks. After reviewing and going over the complications of each thing, we strongly recommend to go with option 2. This is where we will stay open for normal household trash, MSW only. Jaffrey was the first station that I am aware of a week or 8 days ago went and they did the same thing. This is it. If you want to glance through this, you should have a copy of it, and the red ink is their notification of what they're going to do. I use that as a basis and the guidelines for a draft for us to do the same thing. Since Jaffrey, Wakefield is doing the same thing this morning, and Ossipee is closed entirely for 2 weeks. Or
They rescinded.
they rescinded the closure.
Yeah.
What are they open for?
I'm not sure, but
They got the message they
I
can't
think
do that.
it's one of the.
Well,
Yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare here.
That was one of my biggest concerns, is we would be eating, or people would try to feed us
Yeah.
all of their stuff. So, Moultonborough, their building is closed and locked, and no employee interaction with customers, with the exception of their weight scale out back, and that transaction would go on via the supervisor there with the person on the weight scale. But they closed some of their services. The customer comes up, drops the bag in front of the recycling compactor, or drops the bag in front of the household trash compactor, and when they're gone, the employee comes out, picks the bag up, make sure there's no glass bottles and jars, and he throws it in. But the problem associated with that is what if there is, and then you're also handling the bag. Jaffrey, Ashland, Epping, and Wakefield are doing talking with their people, are doing the same thing on what we do. So basically, we would have the facility open for household trash. We would be closed for the recycling building would be closed, and the CD would be terminated, so that people that come in and use the household trash, if we have overflow and the compactors get full, we would have the CD containers for overhaul capability.
So
In addition, what I went through, in addition to the verbiage on the red piece, which I think I gave you, if you look at this, would go on the website. I had one change to this, which I will change, set effective immediately, which is starting Tuesday. After talking with a couple individuals, and I would like to make that effective Saturday. Okay, so Tuesday and Wednesday, I would get on the phone and I would call some people and tell you who would call me.
And the reason for the delay?
The reason for the delay is to let the contractors know and individuals know, so we can post it on the website, because it's getting the word out to everybody. Getting the word out. If we have this posted by each compactor, okay, and in the window of the building, for 2 days of operation, that word will get out. In addition to being on the website, and for the contractors, I'm going to go down the list of all the contractors we had and call them and tell them of the change. Okay? So that they don't drive up with a trailer full of stuff and be told they can't. We, in the verbiage here, basically, I try to keep this as small as possible and as easy to understand as possible. So effective immediately would change to Saturday's date. For recyclables, residents may store house and normal household recyclables at home until the situation abates and we resume regular recycling activities. Normal household, yes, they have to spell it out, because other recyclables are not normal and cannot be thrown into compactor. Okay, so you can either keep it at home until this situation dies down and then bring it in, or you can throw it away. Your choice. But you can't throw stereo receivers or TVs or any of that. So you have to spell out each individual thing, so that there's no surprises.
Help me with the construction debris issue. I understand that having people come in the recycling building and bringing recyclables brings you in closer contact than maybe would be ideal.
Absolutely.
But C&D,
Money, face to face. You got to give the guy a price. You got to collect money, and you know that's one of the dirtiest things we have is money. And that's why a lot of the other places are closing down that portion of the operation.
okay, now do some of the people that you do C&D with, you run an account for them and they pay you later?
Yes, I do that.
And is it possible to continue doing that, so you're not actually exchanging money, but you're taking the C&D?
Then we don't have a capability for overflow. A lot of the people in the last 2 days, a lot of the people that have come in have not come in the recycling building. You know, it has really slowed down, and most of the people are throwing stuff in the compact.
So consequently, the volume increases.
The volume increases.
In the compactor.
So you need overflow space. And we've had that on long weekends anyway, under regular operations. So, and we can do it, I mean, we can try it for a couple weeks, fulfill the obligation. If we don't need the overflow space, and it's not requiring that, then we can go back and incrementally step stuff back in. I thought about trying, you know, the more difficult you make this to understand, the harder it is to operate. Okay, and to fulfill the obligations for the 2 missions that I put up there. If we allow people to still throw glass or put plastic because it's back on the loading dock, and you can do that, then they're going to have mixed bags. They're going to throw mixed bags of stuff into the thing, and it's just going to get all dirt up. I mean, we have that problem inside as it is. So it's easiest to keep it the cleanest in the shutdown. If it's only 2 weeks, it's only 2 weeks, and we start back up again. But I believe if you keep it as simple as possible, we're gonna have better results than we would if we didn't.
And do we have any word from Turnkey as to whether their schedule's gonna change?
Their schedule is the same right now. The only thing that I have talked to the person about is what happens if the drivers go down and they start losing their capability of drivers because they're limited on drivers to begin with. You know,
Overtime.
and if this drags on for 2 months, you know, that could happen very easily.
Yeah.
And while for a large period of time we didn't have the movement up here, we've seen a lot of influx of out-of-state people up here, and you can only assume that our numbers are going to increase rapidly because of that. You know, this is not an easy step. There is a number of towns that are doing it. NRA, I recommended to NRA that they put out information as to, and I've also contacted DES. DES has put a blanket waiver out that that basically says if you need to make changes to your facility to meet the recommended guidance from state and federal government, including changes to minimize contact with solid waste that has potentially known contamination, operating hours, or other facility services, please notify DES of any needed changes via email sent to that specific address. We will place a notice in the facility record. No additional action is required on your part to update the department. So I will take care of doing that. We are doing like Jaffrey and a couple of towns. We're just going to MSW only. That put it in the file, because normally anytime you change anything, time of operation, or any of that kind of stuff, you have to reapply, get a new permit, and have all the stuff. You know, there's fees involved, and then they have to, you know, approve each thing. So they did a blanket waiver, so that it's just a matter of typing up an email, send it to them, they'll put it in our file. When we go back to normal operations, they'll pull it out of the file.
But that waiver doesn't extend to types of things you can put in.
Correct. Correct. Yes. That goes for, let's say we wanted to stop taking universal waste, or we wanted to stop taking motor oil on a permanent basis. We would have to send that, or we wanted to change our time from 4 to the days of operation. Any change on that, then you have to apply, you have to change the permit. So that, you know, they're operating under this emergency action. We're just doing temporary. And that's all this would be, is a temporary fix. So NRA has come out with a list. This is old. This is from the 19th. It shows what your facility has done, where Ashland's changed to MSW only. Epping, Ashland, Jaffrey, and Wakefield are doing what we're doing, or what I propose doing. Wolfboro, I haven't been able to get through. I get conflicting reports on Wolfboro's doing, but this will be updated on a daily basis. We'll show what all the communities are. But
so your proposal is all in red?
This is a notice. This is a notice, and it explains that proposal in detail for the residents, so that they understand. And this, by operating on Tuesday and Wednesday, this will be posted on the wall. We'll post it on the website as soon as I make that change and get it to Karen. And the end result, you know, we're sorry for the inconvenience. Rest assured, we'll review the status weekly between me and you all. And as soon as we possibly can, we will go back to the normal operations. And if we feel the need to adjust, if we go 2 weeks of this and we have no problems with overflow, we don't have any major issues. You know, what we've seen is a big increase in people coming up and opening their summer
Right.
places early, and bringing, you know, large trailers of stuff in it. And what I specifically have put in here, contractors as well as individuals that want to do house clean outs or barn clean outs, or, you know, we had a pickup truck with a lot of the construction guys have these construction trailers that show a motorcycle trailers all decked out, just chock to the full of garbage bags. You know, we want to make a statement that the nominal amount of trash is recommended, so that when you come up 4 hours later, there's room for you to throw your stuff away.
Right, we're not picking up piles of stuff. I mean, that's the
Right.
problem I saw with the Ospey closure was,
Well, they come over here, and then when we turn them away, they'll get pissed and they'll throw it on the road
or they'll just leave it at the gate.
at the gate.
Well, I think that the problem with their closure is you can't do it.
You can't, you're state mandated to provide the service,
Yes.
Right.
okay?
You
Now,
can't just close it
Household
down.
trash.
like that.
right, yeah.
I thought
Now,
we had-
there are, you know, when you declare a national emergency, and the state declares a national emergency, there's exceptions to everything.
Yeah,
But that is not a very common sense
right.
way of doing business. And, you know, after all, the end result is we want to keep us safe and we want to keep the residents safe. And we want to comply as much as possible with the national guidance, the federal guidance, the state guidance, and keep our people safe, and still do as much of the mission as we can. My personal feeling is, you know, this may go on for 2 to 4 weeks, but after 4 weeks, I think it's probably taper back to it. I don't know.
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, I'm not, personally, I don't know why we have to wait till Saturday, but if you feel that's the,
Well, we can make it,
Tuesday?
We can make it Wednesday, we can make it, if we make it Tuesday, no one really has, we're gonna have a lot of people coming up with stuff that, you know, when we put this on the website, we put it out, it's gonna be on the, whatever that one website is that a lot of people are on. The word will get around very quickly that we've changed to MSW.
If you make the change effective Wednesday, that gives people 1 day that you're open to transition from whatever they've been doing to the new way.
Right.
And
And it starts our clock a little bit
I mean, no
early.
matter what, you're gonna have the folks that are coming
Yes.
up here from
Yes.
wherever in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
opening up their camp, who have no idea that we're making any changes.
Right.
They're gonna show up with whatever they show up
Okay.
with.
Right.
So you're gonna have a period of time, maybe as long as a week or
Right.
2, where you're gonna have to interact with those folks.
Right, exactly, and I will primarily be the one to do that, so. And some of you have been in the office and seen people, you know, like, kind of stay at the door,
Yeah.
keep your 6 feet.
I mean, they have to expect that stuff is happening.
And the minute you do that, they, oh, yeah, you're right, you know.
Yeah.
My concern is, I'm glad that somebody updated that Ospey is still gonna stay open. We had a guy come in with a pickup, like I told you, with that contractor trailer. The pickup was from Tuckenboro. Okay, so, you know, everybody has friends. This is not normal for that person to do that, or to come in with that. So my first thought was, it's already started, you know?
Well, you've already been through this. When you first came, we took in enough TVs in 2 years
Oh, yeah.
to put 2 in every place.
We'll fix that, right?
And can I
Sure.
say something?
Can I do one more thing?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Was it important that this one?
I'll tell you what, while I'm
It's
speaking,
up.
and interrupt me if it causes things. First of all, a compliment to you and as all the department heads. You've thought this out, you've communicated. In the 8 or 9 years you've been here, you've always been ahead of the curve.
Right.
And you know, it's not your first rodeo. You had a previous career where you handled a lot more significant incidents than this, so.
Can I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
I just came back. Okay. Yesterday, because of that thought, because of checking stickers, I personally went out and stood out there for 2.5, 3 hours with every car that came down in our truck. We had a lot of them. And I basically had 4 cars out of probably close to 150 that didn't have stickers. And 2 of them were, one was out of state and one was a new vehicle that they didn't take the sticker off at all. And so they came in. So, by and large, and then I had one argument with one individual who's been around here a lot. He doesn't believe in the stickers, you know.
Well,
But it wasn't.
he should just keep his trash at home.
Yeah.
If he has a problem with that, he can
Yeah.
send it to the select.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It was, and I didn't engage in the argument. I just said, I'm just trying to give you a heads up. I'm trying to give you a heads up. If you don't have a sticker,
Anytime you get somebody that tells you they don't have a sticker, tell them that Selectman Markuson will be happy to buy a sticker for them,
Right.
okay?
right?
But,
Well,
I mean, if that's,
Yeah.
but
It's
if that isn't their issue, I understand. It's
Yeah.
not, it's the idea of it. Well, okay, you know,
Yeah.
you live in a community, this is part of what,
well, you go down and I said, now you have a vehicle, okay? If you enter into discussion, it's just wasting time anyway. But what's that right there? That's your state registration. You're not arguing about putting that on there.
You go to the fire department, you get a burning permit.
Yeah. If you don't have a burn permit, you can get in trouble. But anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
But I think the stickers the sticker problem's going to be reduced because possibly, so I think that's going to be
I'm going to work backwards.
okay.
I think you deserve a lot of credit for, as we move to this new situation. Hey, we need to be fair to the people who are just doing their job or whatever. When it comes to notification, I think it needs to go on our website.
Right.
I think it needs to be a flyer or a ad in the paper so that reaches people. The other thing is, let's go to Blacksmith and have this made up a little bit bigger, like you do the poster for hazmat, and it's laminated.
Okay.
And one of the things needs to be posted out on the sign by the, so when people drive by, they see it. You know, that fits in with your notification of people.
Please change the font.
No, please give it some thought. I'd like to go through some other things. I agree with you 100%, residential house trash only. The next thing is, would you consider changing the days to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday? Solid waste only has hours during weekdays, and you already have had days where those compactors are packed.
I want to keep that in reserve. If we have problems with overflow, if that does become an issue as more and more people come up here,
change our hours and days then.
and then I would recommend doing exactly that. You take one day out of the weekend, open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. And so we would have the same flow, but those Saturday and Sunday, obviously, days of waste management doesn't work. Okay? So if you change it to more days during the week, and if we're still in this situation where obviously, people are restricted, there's no problem with people getting in here during the week versus having to come
Any change of days, is it necessary? Do you get a special waiver?
That's correct. But
Could you-
under this guidance, all I have to do is send an email, and they'll put that update in our file until we go back to normal operation, and then we change back for that.
Well, the less of a change from normal operations we do,
Yeah.
particularly if we're talking about changing days, because
People have a hard enough time with the days staying the same as where they are. And part of that day, we can use for cleaning and disinfecting. Obviously, if the building's closed, we don't have to do as much of that. We have to do it as we go along for ourselves. But,
That leads to my next item. Would you consider changing the hours from 8 a.m. to 3:30? I've noticed a lot of facilities have that. I've noticed at 4 o'clock, there's oftentimes your people have to stick around
well, 8 a.m.
to 3:30, you're open.
to 3:30, you know, that obviously,
It allows your people to close down in an orderly fashion, pick up what has to be picked up, and it cuts down on the last minute people
Right.
in there. Would
Yeah,
you
my-
consider that?
I mean, I would consider that if we do the same thing as later on. You know, that any time you reduce the time of your operation, it forces more people in a smaller amount of time. And the objective is to minimize, not just us to come residents, but as you all, and those of you who come up to the station frequently, you know, it can tend to get to be a social gathering point. And there are a lot of people that just, you know, they don't understand what their people are trying to do with this spacing issue.
The severity of the issue.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you say the special haulers that do just household trash,
Right, Richie and,
you know,
Richie and,
there's several of them in town.
yeah, a couple, yeah.
You know, maybe if they could expand their routes and
If they could, you know, that keeps them a minimum. I think individuals, right now, would be on the phone to those guys if they didn't want to expose themselves by coming up to the transfer station. And we're also looking at, giving, and I don't know whether this is the appropriate time to bring it up, but, you know, both of our commercial contractors are very knowledgeable of our system and what we do and the machines. So if they want to come at off hours or additional times, you know, we can make the access to them open. And they can come in and put the stuff and dump it, and they don't have to worry about anybody else. You know, we're looking at the options for those individuals to do that to better fit their schedule, and also, you know, minimize the time.
And could I toss out one other thing? You are great at balancing a whole bunch of things, and thank you. There's one other thing here, is that equipment, that compacts, is 25 years old.
Yeah, that's why we're changing.
And a citizen mentioned to me that since you aren't taking construction debris, there's 4 empty containers there. And what about putting aluminum cans and metal cans in one, plastic in it?
We still have.
Excuse me for speaking.
No, it's the same thing we talk about out back. Any time you change and you have people doing something different, when they come into the building right now, with all the signs there are, as long as we've been doing it the way we've been doing it, instead of coming in with their stuff organized and sorted, they come in with a large bag and they're hand throwing stuff out. Or they get frustrated and throw the whole bag in. Now what has to happen? One of us has to pull that bag out and sort the stuff out, which defeats the whole purpose. And if you don't have them supervised, where, nope, no, you're walking out the door and you've left a bag of stuff right there. No, wait a minute. You need to take care of your stuff. The same thing will happen then. You know, if you have 4 or 5 different stations which aren't routine, now we're going to spend a month trying to train individuals on what to do.
So the glass is going to remain the way it is now?
Well, yes, I didn't mention that in here. I can put a note in here about the glass that, you know, you can still stop it with your glass in there.
And other recyclables,
That we have outside is plastic.
We have plastic outside?
I could, yeah, it's on the loading dock, but for the residents, the normal operation is to do it inside. That's a change. So you're gonna have to teach people. But we could do, the way it's set up right now, we could do glass and we could do plastic. But again, that is a change in the future.
or people can hold their plastic and bring it later,
Right.
right, once we go back to.
Which is what we said
Yeah.
first started.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So
That is bad on my
was the idea that aluminum and metal can go together? I thought, just wake me up on this, I thought we had to separate aluminum from regular tin can or like soup can.
We do. Steel and tin cans are in one, and aluminum
But
cans.
Lloyd had posited this notion of using one of those empty containers to hold metal.
Right.
And can we come into those?
Yes, you can. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're using steel, you're gonna get the price of steel. You're not gonna get the price of aluminum.
You're gonna get something, but
You're
not,
gonna get something.
not the optimal.
Right now, it's almost break even.
Where I was coming from, Mr. Chairman, is, first of all, I went back the last 3 years, and you start adding a ton of glass a month, a ton of metal, and of course plastic doesn't weigh that much. You're using old machines, you're stressing them, what happens if a machine goes down? The other thing is,
You're adding that weight to the
Yes.
MSW.
glass and plastic don't compact well. The other thing is, I was just thinking as the average guy, this is a chance for me to come in and still feel good about recycling and stuff like this. The other thing is, if it's over where the construction debris things are, now you and I walk through a door and we're talking and whatnot. Up there's a 40-yard container, and all 4 of us can be recycling and still be 10 feet apart from each other. That's where I was coming from. The other thing is, it couples with the change of hours, is the day of funding in this operation in the next few weeks is solid waste. And I've seen weekends, and he's had weekends in non-summer months, that by 3 o'clock on Sunday, those compactors are full.
Okay.
And whatever. But I will defer to what you people think.
Well, we're making some significant changes just in doing this. I'm not sure we're ready to do a wholesale restructuring of business.
Yes, you're right.
So maybe and Clay's gonna have to come back and report to us anyway.
I think the easiest thing is to make it simple as possible, with minimal amount of change. I would be very amenable to keeping glass the way it is and putting it here. Glass disposal is still available around the end of the building. If we want to change it after 2 weeks, then let's change it after
Well,
2
you're gonna have
weeks.
plenty of time to think about it, because you're not gonna get to talk to anybody for 2 weeks, so you can watch.
No, it's still going to be the same. I mean, we're still, you all know that. There's going to be questions and
Yeah.
so.
And do we have
no, I think, yes, the fire chief, and I'd like to thank him. It's impossible to get stuff, and the chief provided us with some minimal supplies that are more than welcome for us to use. Disinfectant spray and a few other items that will help us stay protected. So, yeah, we had gloves, we have a couple masks.
Don't share them.
No. But I have told the individuals there that we do start wearing the mask, that to take that mask, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then be able to reuse it.
We got one.
I'm prepared to make a motion,
Good, because we're beating this with that.
and after the motion, there's a couple of issues I'd like to share, if I could, very briefly. I'd like to move that we accept Clay Gallagher's recommendations, and we notify the public effective, what date was it you want to make it effective?
Wednesday?
I have no problem with Saturday.
No,
Well,
two of us
but
would like Wednesday.
if the idea is.
I'll make that motion
If the
effective
idea is that
Wednesday.
we're doing this to minimize the chance of this transmitted, then the sooner we get it done, the better.
Is Wednesday agreeable to you folks?
I'll second
That'll
that.
be part of my motion.
I've just seconded your motion. And you wanted to speak?
There's some other things that don't have to do with this issue. I want to separate them.
Okay, so you want to vote on the motion?
I'm ready.
Does the fire chief have any?
Yes,
motion?
just, I apologize that I had to leave and not listen to the whole thing. Just take into account that it's going to be like summertime for the trash haulers, because all the people are coming to their second
Right.
houses. We obviously are seeing that over the weekend.
And that's one of the reasons why we're going to curtail C&D.
Yeah.
So if we need some extra space, we've got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And you probably already discussed that, but I just wanted to, just to let you know what we see.
What you've experienced in your services, right?
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those two, no?
Okay, so I will make the changes to this
Yeah.
Wednesday with the glass,
Yeah.
and we'll go with that.
And Lloyd's got the floor.
4 things. I'd like to recommend that you remove or empty all the containers that you have.
In the process.
I mean, TVs, glass, stuff like that.
All right.
It removes the possibility of disease, and also if there is some income, I will make my truck available like I did before to take 2 loads of batteries with you to Harding Metal. So, that's at least $1,000 for you. The building. Remember you put money in the building in
Yeah,
Jim's
door.
cleaning?
Yes.
Those areas need to be thoroughly cleaned,
Yes.
and now's the time to do it. The other thing is, you have been very gracious in working with contractors and whatnot.
Yeah, clean up the.
I think the bills need to be picked up, and if there's one individual that is a problem,
There is one.
in the past, the police department has worked with you by
Yes.
knocking on the door.
Yeah, Tom did.
It might only be very low 4 figures, but you need all the income you can get up there. Telephone notification. If you're not there, is there a message on the telephone, or is there a way to have telephone forward someplace?
Yeah, I'd have to check with Spectrum on that, because they have our phone service. We had an issue with the phone when we changed over. It's a little bit Greek to me, but they call it paired or something. I don't know what they call it, but they couldn't transfer that particular number in a portion of the operation. So there's actually 2 numbers.
Yes,
So if I call out,
911 doesn't get your number, it gets another number. Remember with the fire in the skidder? My brother works for 911, and he explained.
oh yeah, it'll show another, when we call out, it will show a different number. So there is a little issue with that.
But you resolved it.
But
So do you have a message on the line up there if nobody
we
answers?
do not have a message on there.
Okay.
Um,
Is there anything else the selectmen can do, Clay, to help you? You've done a great job.
I'll call him if I can get some on that. What was it, with the
I said, you've done a fantastic job, thank you. Is there anything else the selectmen can do to support you in your efforts?
No, I think, I was gonna ask for, if Ossipee was closed, I was gonna ask for some, support from the, with some checks, random checks up there, just to make sure, but, I think that solved the problem, so, no, I think we're good. The one individual that I have had problems with, it's been about 5 months. Haven't heard hide or hair from him. He has a house here in Tuckenboro, but he's not living there. He's using that as a storage place. So I'll get together with the police chief and see if we can find somebody who knows him. I have talked to people that work with him. He's down around the Alton area.
Well, you know, for the thousands of dollars that go through
It's
there,
about $600.
if it's $600, that really is a blip on the radar. So
Right.
thank you again.
Okay, we gotta keep moving.
Yep, sorry about that.
Thanks for
I
coming in,
appreciate the,
Thanks again, sir.
And next on the agenda is Dennis Salembo. Come on down.
Hey, young fella.
One of the chief today,
How are you?
before the chief. How's it going?
Good.
I guess.
My wife had it together before, gave me a spray to spray. Very, very. I guess you can't be overly cautious. Karen showed me away the other day, I got too close to it.
Hey, young fella, how you doing?
Good, good, how's everyone? Surviving with this change of life we've got here? You know, it's funny, I think today's the first day of internet learning with the schools in New Hampshire. We just hope that parents and stuff use this as quality time. You know, because learning with survey is more than just a classroom, you know? You don't want that kid in front of the video, playing video games all day, you know? I mean, I'll teach them how to make chicken parm.
But at least
change
it's
a
an
tire,
option.
do their taxes, you know? But anyway, I'm getting off track. You know, you look at the big picture, and you say, what are you doing, you know? How important is Parks and Rec? You know, you look at the news and the last, whatever, month and a half, all you hear is coronavirus and Tom Brady. And they both were bad.
But when you talk about Parks and Rec, the trailheads have been packed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think when this is all said and done, Parks and Rec is gonna be very important because people are gonna explode about just saying, you know, I've been in my house, I haven't been to restaurants, you know, whatever. So I think we gotta be on our game. And back on Facebook, I think it came out last Friday, a lady from Wolf Rose. Now you talk about us trying to get volunteers for old home days or to be on the commissions. She's got 250 people already signed up to help with this, whatever it is, victory type party when the thing is over. She's talking parades, fireworks, you know, all that stuff. But isn't it funny? And it, you know, I think some good comes out of this where, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but people helping people doing this.
Well, you remember Victory in Europe Day, right?
Yeah. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. I'm teaching and I want to stop teaching. You guys have business. But when we're talking about trash, we gotta talk about that a little bit too at the beach.
I've worked that out.
Okay. All right. Well, we did get a call from principal up at the Central School last week, who got a call from the superintendent to close, you know, all parks as far as fields, courts, and playgrounds. So we have a homemade sign up there. I don't know if you've seen it, but it is closed. And it's funny, I did get a call from a resident over the weekend asking if the trails were open. And I said, trail away, go ahead, have fun. So, you know, I could see the playgrounds and stuff where the virus might stay on, you know, a slide.
Especially
or
plastic.
something like that. But I think that's done throughout, but anyway. This whole issue has made us cancel our CPR class, which was gonna be held on April 7th. It's canceled our Easter egg hunt, which was gonna be held on April 11th. We do have a Parks and Rec meeting, April 9th, and I think at that point we'll make a decision where we stand as far as upcoming events. Some of the upcoming events are the program called Saturday in the Park, where we're gonna have, you know, hour and a half phys ed classes with the younger kids, grades K through 4. We do have a paint class, which was here. The next paint class, by the way, Karen, I hope you don't jump ship on me. This is the, we had a good turnout the last time. This is the next thing that I'm painting. So we got one scheduled on the 20th, and then on June 17th, outside down at the beach.
It's May 20th, right?
May 20th, and then June 17th, yeah. We got our town-wide yard sale again for June 6th. Our summer kickoff June 27th. Swim lessons start on the 6th of July. Concerts start on the 9th of July. And the new program we've got, we haven't worked out the details, but a lady's gonna come in and teach yoga on the beach. She also does kids yoga, seated yoga, veterans yoga.
Goat yoga?
And Tai Chi, huh?
Goat yoga?
Goat yoga?
Yeah.
I don't
Yoga
know.
with goats?
Is that something new? I'm missing out on that one.
Yeah.
Goat yoga, wow.
No, Brady's coming to talk.
Speaking of goats, we do have our pockets coming to 2 events, the Old Home Days and the picnic and the beach day on the end of August. So it's not goats, but it's alpacas.
Well, that's close.
That's close. We did get good news from the Minuteman Press. I know we give them quite a bit of business. And Larry Mead, a friend of mine, he's a coach of it. Kenneth, instead of a sponsorship, he's going to agree to do all our banners, which would be nice, you know. I did speak with Lloyd last week. We do have some new additions coming into the 19-mile beach. I just spoke with the chief. We just ordered 3 new grills. So we'll have a total of 4 grills with benches and then umbrellas. We're putting in 2, in the back section here, 2 horseshoe pits, a volleyball court somewhere in the center. Ideally, I'd love to get a cement pad just off the edge of the pavilion for a couple of reasons. One, at the concert, I think a lot of people actually want to dance, but it's kind of a grass thing, and I think it was a designated dance area. But my reasoning is to actually put a hoop on the side so kids could shoot, because I do basketball. We did get the lake coast to Bill pressing me on Friday. That application got in, and last year we did close to 400 inspections. We only had 2 workers, but we're back on that route, the lake coast. It's a great program. I mean, it really does good. The one thing I think we've got to talk about is the boat pull and wolf boat on the beaches. You know, we're paying, you know, $17,000, $18,000 to Wolfboro for our residents to have the same, you know, rights that a Wolfboro resident would have. First I spoke to Justin over at the Parks and Rec, He sent me to the town manager, I spoke to them, they sent me back to the head of Parks and Rec, Christine, and she suggested we write a letter. And that's, you know, whatever way you want to do it, I'll write it, you can write it, you can read it. But basically asking where do we stand, Tuftonville residents, in regards to using Albee Beach. And I did say your name was Alvin, so you should be able to,
I get to use it.
to get you in there. But I just think it's something we gotta look at, and all I'm saying is if we're giving them $18,000 a year, we should be included. And I don't know how the impact is gonna be on our beach, but I mean, I don't make $18,000 a year. And $18,000 is about a third of my budget. Give me $18,000 a year to buy gaga pits and do renovations. So, whatever way you guys wanna handle it, I'll do it, but if
And
you
do
need
you
me.
know how much use the Tuftonboro residents make of? Did they just close Albee Beach or was it Cary?
Brewster Beach is open to the
Okay,
general public.
so just Brewster.
Cary and Albee, I believe, are the two. And they, to be honest with you, the Parks and Rec is not in favor of this. Now they gotta monitor it, hire people, come up with stickers, that whole thing. Oh, I'm staying at this hotel, well, you know, how do we know you know what I'm saying, type
But
of
that
thing.
wasn't the pusher, I think it was the busloads of people coming up.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was the thing that broke it.
but it affects,
Why don't you draft a letter?
I will. I'll share it with you guys before I mail it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too acrimonious. I mean, you say 17,000, it used to be a good deal more than that. I think they were
Well,
close.
it's gonna go more because they already told us when I first took the job, based on the population, it's gonna go up next year.
Yeah, but it has been a lot, I don't know.
And, you know, she did give us a sheet with residents from Tuftonboro using their facilities, and I just think that, you know, this one family might ski 20 times a year. This one family might skate 30 times a year. And then she puts in, you know, fireworks, X amount of people. Well, how do you know how many Tuftonboro people go see the fireworks? So I think it's inflated, and to be honest with you, when I first took the job, I wasn't in favor of it, and I'm definitely not in favor of it if they discourage us from using the beach. So that's where I stand on that.
Let them craft something.
All right, yeah.
I like your idea of not being acrimonious.
Well, I mean, so much you're gonna win. Our kids do utilize their parks and rec facilities, you know.
Right, the $18,000 a year that we contribute to Wolfboro allows Tuftonboro residents to participate in Wolfboro Parks and Rec at the resident rate.
Correct.
Okay, so there's a cost associated with stuff for residents and non-residents. So that's what our $18,000 buys. And in the past, in my memory, when we've discussed it, it's generally been felt that that's a reasonable amount to pay for what we get.
Right.
Again, it always bears looking at, again, if we cut it out, then what we do is for those residents of Tuftonboro that participate in the Wolfboro rec programs, they end up paying more.
They do, but the other answer to that is that we just gave $1,000 to the school for scholarships, and they've used most of it.
Yeah.
When I went to that spaghetti dinner the other day, talked to the principal, he loved it. And he said a lot of kids took advantage. So, I mean, you could go the other way. If we didn't pay it, you could have a fund that we used to give to the scholarship group for people that could apply for.
But the problem, I mean, the other issue, from my perspective, is that you don't have a critical mass of kids in Tuftonboro.
Right.
So you really can't create some of the programs and have them be effective that require 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 kids. You know, so you all of a sudden limited the scope of activities because you're not involved with them.
So instead of paying, say, $8 as a Wolfboro resident to ski, they pay $16 or something. But I'm not sure, I'm just throwing those figures out. But, you know, to me, to have $18,000, which is a third of my budget, going there,
Yeah.
which is more than I make going there.
It isn't.
And I'm just going on record that if they don't give us this beach thing, I'm dead against it.
His point is well taken. The reason why Lakes Region VOTEC is so successful is, outside of Kingswood, is that there's 7 towns, so they can come up with a class of 12 to teach them first aid or life saving, that any individual town couldn't do individually.
All right, moving on.
All right, move on.
Stop. Round.
Again, the Old Home Days is scheduled for the 21 through 23. Just to kind of update you with that Saturday program, and just trying to round out what else is happening based on the whole 3 days. That Saturday thing, we got a 9 o'clock run to the beach road race, starting at the beach and finishing at the beach. It's a 3-mile, kind of informal. We're not going to pay $800 for a time company. It's going to be the old cross country with a timer, and as you come in, you get a popsicle stick where you finish. That's going to be 9 o'clock. 11 to 2, we got a chili cook-off. 1 to 4, we got a cornhole tournament. I got 12 sets of cornholes from the Kingswood Regional High School. 2:30, we're still doing the cardboard boat race, and I booked a band called the Echo Tones, 3 to 5. So the day at the beach party is pretty much set. We're working on the picnic. Just spoke with the chief and just trying to nail down people what they're going to do, trying to get more volunteers, trying to get better quality of food. So if you're coming to the picnic, it's easy for you to bring a bag of chips rather than make a macaroni salad. We need that macaroni salad. We need the tossed salad, you know. But the fire department's going to take over the cooking, and we're just going to try and add some activities. We're looking into this program where we're going to combine it with National Night Out and maybe the town picnic. If you ever saw these dogs with frisbees, and I'm working, trying to negotiate prices. You ever see that on ESPN where they throw the frisbees and the dogs fly? Just to get some kind of a little excitement to it, not just the alpacas. So we're working on that. Let me see if there's anything else here. No, I think all the concerts, the contracts have been mailed, returned. Again, I think the letter's got to go out for the sponsorship of Old Home Days. And that's basically it. You know, we'll just take this virus and see where we stand by our next meeting and go from there. You know, it's a shame that we had to cancel 2 events already, but that's the way it is right now, I guess.
Go ahead.
We had very healthy conversations.
You and I?
And thank you very much for your input. You've made a difference. The first thing is, are they going to be charcoal grills?
Charcoal, yeah. We talked to them.
Okay, can you work with the chief and make sure there's the right container to get rid of the ashes?
Yeah, that's part of it. But I think too, with this trash thing we're gonna talk about is just to have more than what we had at that.
Do you want to talk about it now?
Well, I just think if we're gonna have sections of umbrellas and grills, you know, we're gonna have to have a few more containers around.
Do you want to talk about it now? Take 2 minutes?
No, I mean.
I've located a trash hauler in town that will check the 3 areas in town
Yeah.
and do the trash every single day. We don't need broken glass where someone can cut a foot,
Right,
right?
we need containers I mean, the guy who wants to pick up the trash is going to get hired to pick up the trash. Doesn't want to police the area. We need to have containers.
Trash barrels.
Yeah, trash
Yeah,
barrels.
yeah. And not the ones that I bought at Black's that was stolen. But I think the chief was right when he talked about the weekend. I mean, down at Melbourne Beach there, one day I got down there and it's just overflowing crazy, you know? And I think I ended up.
I will continue to work with you, and Clay is
Okay.
willing to work with us.
Sounds good.
And so is Dave Ladd.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yep.
The ramp.
Yeah.
Ramp has been damaged.
Yes.
What was put in is not satisfactory. I don't know if you folks have seen it or not, the blocks have come up. I just recommend that we have the same guy who did our boat ramps put cement in there. I don't know if there's insurance for the damage. I don't know about those things.
It looks like to me, as you get to the water, a couple of them are up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, rather than all
And
four.
even the,
You do, my recollection is he didn't get that installation completely done in the fall. He said he would come back in the spring and finish what he didn't do in the fall. And it may be that what you saw flipped up is because it wasn't locked in at that end completely. So he is planning to come back in and do the rest of the contract work. And I know Karen was talking about having him come in and meet with us ahead of time, right?
And I mentioned to the company as the ramp was damaged, I have a secretary when I called, so it sounded they'll take a look at that when they come back.
Well, we talked about a little bit, but that ramp, of course, with the bricks on its side, there's the holes. I'm not sure how safe that is come summertime, when people walk, you know what I mean, with bare feet and stuff like that. And the other thing we talked about too was where that wall is. It would have been a great idea to maybe have 2 stairwells or one going that whole length, because that's a pretty good drop off.
And we discussed that with Brooks when he was in, before he did the rework in the fall. So that's something, I think when he comes in, that we want to address
that's a great idea,
with
yeah.
respect to, I mean, steps is great, but steps have to be done in a way that they're not a hazard to.
Right.
You got this long wall that's 12 inches high or 18 inches,
Yes.
whatever it is, and then you're walking along and all of a sudden there's a cutout for a step and you step into it because you don't notice. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the right way to do it is, but whatever is done to deal with it needs to be done in a way that's not less safe. And it
So
is-
what you said about the cement, that's just an idea.
yep,
It'd be nice if
we've already, at the 3 places you put boats in, Moody has done.
yeah.
It's aesthetic, it's safe.
Well, let's see what Brooke says to say when we come in.
Yeah.
I just know that if some people are afraid of jumping off the wall, they're gonna go that way. And I'm just worried with bare feet and stuff.
And can I see your map?
Yeah. I traced this off of Google.
Good job.
I put a column too, right? You see the
Yes, yes, it's lovely. I thought it was something your granddaughter
That
did.
cradle is good.
Wow.
The road comes in here. I was there this weekend, and people were driving RVs into the sand.
Yeah.
I'll draw a picture. Here is Bay Road, and here's into the parking lot, correct?
Yeah.
And there's wood here,
Yeah.
wood here, the ramp goes like this. Would you please contact the road agent about putting no parking signs,
Yeah.
no parking signs, no parking signs? I was down there this weekend, and you know, how do you get a fire truck or ambulance in there?
Yeah.
Would you work with the road agent on that? He was gonna do it last year, but he's forgotten. Thank you.
All right.
Nice job.
All right, thanks, Dennis.
Okay, yeah, good luck, stay safe, guys.
You too. Okay, we've got no Jim Dean, no Chief Shidori.
Yeah, he's on a call.
He's tied up.
He's tied up.
Yeah, he is.
Nice.
Well, that's the best.
We had to have Chief.
Good morning, sir.
So how do we want to do this? Do we want to do the Chief's update first?
Yeah, sure.
I've talked to them, they've been in my office for a winter time, since we met on Friday, we shouldn't have any exposure. Okay, this update was made as of March 20th. We had 37 fire calls, 50 EMS calls, 9 service calls, 2 special details, total 98, 7 gas furnace inspections, 3 oil burner inspections, 2 wood stove inspections, and 4 life safeties for 16. The new jaws of life were delivered and placed in service on the 19th. thank you for signing and returning the paperwork for LRPC. That allowed us to get our all hazards plan and the grant, 25% federal matching grant. That'll pay $7,500 portion. The town portion is $2,500 for a total of $10,000. And I'm sure that that'll be delayed with.
And what is that $10,000 buying?
It's buying the all hazards plan that we can't do ourselves. As far as that goes. And we have to redo that every 5 years to be able to be eligible for grants and things like that. The members of the fire rescue department responded to a third alarm structure fire, as you know, in Osby Corner on March 5th. The department responded with engine 2, car 1, and ambulance 1, along with 7 personnel. The fire was very serious and had multiple agencies from all over the county. There were multiple residents that were injured and displaced. One of the highway department's employees was traveling to Osby Aggregates when he noticed smoke coming from the apartment building. This gentleman stopped his 10-wheel and assisted occupants that were trapped on the upper floors. Occupants were dropping younger children out of the 4th floor windows to subjects below. People were also jumping from the 4th floor windows. No firefighters were injured in the incident. The EMT, fire, police department are dealing with the daily operations and challenges, obviously, of COVID-19, which it has caused. Each department has been following new guidelines and protocols that are being put in place daily. That is in line with the CDC, state and federal guidelines. This pandemic is ongoing to be, this pandemic is going to be a huge challenge for everyone, as it's been making daily situations that have never been seen by most of society today. Obviously, as we had discussed on Friday, there is guidelines that are coming out every day. Workman's Comp originally was saying that they were not going to cover employees as far as fire, EMS, people that were exposed, put in quarantine for a period of time, and if they were found that they did not have the virus, that they wouldn't pay the workers' comp. They've since reneged and are going to cover any situations like that. So that's good news, because we would have had all members and people that just wouldn't go out because of the afraidness of not being covered for those particular situations. And as I said, every day we're getting more and more stuff coming in. This folder is just a start of stuff that printed off and stuff that we're having to follow as far as guidelines and things like that. So, in reference to department communications and policy, I try to stay in touch with at least one of the selectmen over the weekend with any of the updates. I believe that there are some of the things here that may go a little bit over as far as notifications for all health emergencies. But that's including EMS calls. It's going to be a tough thing to keep you notified. Your phone's going to be ringing.
Yeah, I think my thought on that health emergency was general health emergencies and specific employee health emergencies. So we have a job to keep track of the well-being of our town employees. But if there's we're currently in the pandemic.
Right.
So
yeah, I can see keeping you notified as far as pandemic health emergencies or anything that you're going to need to update other people.
Yeah.
But the general day-to-day, as far as emergencies and things like that, I think that your phone's going to blow up over or someone's phone's going to blow up.
How about giving them a pager?
We can do that. But I have,
Still use those?
yes, we use those on a daily basis.
Well, this is why we put it out, or I put it out for review. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to have just a meeting and.
I think that there is a point of being informed and there's a point of micromanaging that we might not want to. It's going to have us doing so much phone calls and paperwork and things like that we're going the opposite way. We're not going to be effective in some cases. Yes, I think that we ought to look at that.
Right, it was not meant to be a management tool so much as it was to be an inclusive tool. In order for all of us to be as informed as we can about the activities that are going on.
Right. And so, as I said, like road closures, I might not have any idea what's going on in Ossipee either, but it's affected Tuftonboro because they had to close, whatever part of the road. Chief Shigori or one of his people may know why.
And it could have affected you though.
Right.
I mean, let's say there was a fire in that area.
Yeah. Well,
You send your engine down Durgan Hill to go up Sawyer Road, let's say.
but our dispatchers let us know that the road is closed in that particular area when we sign on. Because we're using the same dispatch. Yes, that is why that we try to, when we close roads for more vehicle accidents or there's something that's taking place as far as an emergency, especially state roads, we let dispatch know that the road is going to be closed. If we open it back up or we open half of it up as far as travel lanes, then we let them know that it's reopened. Because you have buses and you have different things that need to know that for their roads and things like that. We try to keep the dispatch informed as much as possible in particular cases like that.
Can I add something to that? Only because I wear that hat. This chief here wants to inform the public as quick as he can. For example, if there's something at Abenaki Tower, he and the Tuftonboro Police work together and get the resources. So the road is blocked at 109, 109A split. It's blocked to direct traffic down by the grocery store. And the people he has there, let's say someone just needed to get to that house there, lets them through. The other thing is, Chief, there are other towns that make it their mission to block off a road as long as they want and convenience people. In all the years I've known you, you've done just the opposite. If you can get something open and get traffic one way, you do that, so thank you. Yeah, and you notify school buses, you make it available so the sand truck can get there, so I want to say thank you.
We try to, but I understand your point of view also as far as...
It's a pendulum.
Yes.
There's a happy medium somewhere.
Yep.
And
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we do have people that, in the storms and things like that, we have people that go right by the roadblocks and stuff.
Yeah.
And they get up to, where the trees and wires are down, and they're going, hey, do you know that there's trees and wires? Yeah, you just drove by the roadblock as far as it goes. That's right, yeah. So that will be that. We're working on getting further supplies as far as we have masks, we have hand sanitizer, different things on order, but it's all on back order.
Yeah.
So we're giving out whatever we can to the different department heads that we're able to give out. We gave hand sanitizer, cleaning, gloves, and masks to the transfer station because they're, obviously over the weekend, they're still dealing with people face to face with the different stuff. Hopefully everything we put in place today will cut back a little bit on that and help them out there. I know that there was some concern.
Excuse me, if you don't, I'll add too, I ordered some things too, so I'll keep in touch with you when they finally come in.
I guess I would be looking to see what you want to have as far as what your concerns are for the future as far as emergency management and things like that. We still do have you know, the trailer that was in place. And I think that we probably could use some supplies from with permission from the RCC if we run into an issue. Obviously, we've been housing it and keeping it warm and all that good stuff. So,
Well, we have 3 departments that really, I mean, step back a second, the town office is secure now, and all the communication's gonna go through a box in the lobby, from what I've heard. But we still have the fire department, the transfer station, and the police department. And if we're gonna keep those operating, they all need to have personal protective equipment.
right. And there's a certain amount of personal protective equipment that each place will need to consider them protected, to keep you from a quote-unquote exposure, as far as it goes.
Right.
And each one is different as
All right. Do you wanna, go ahead?
I want to hit you with and I apologize, with an issue, and I don't mean to blindside you. I noticed that Tibbetts Road is chained off of the sign that says private property. To your knowledge, is Tibbetts Road a town road, and who has the authority to close it?
It's a private road.
It's a private road.
It is absolutely private?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I was just thinking if there are any patients down there that you're aware of it, and you
Well,
probably already are.
I'm pretty sure that probably the people that you're thinking of did that. As far as it goes.
Is there a portion of that town road?
No,
It's all,
it's all private. It's all taken care of by private funds.
yeah, all right.
Is there anything else that the police, excuse me, the town, this board of selectmen can do to help you in your department?
Right now, we're operating as, you know, normal as far as with limitations put into, you know, each day. As far as fire station, obviously is locked just like everywhere else. After you talk to different people,
You screen them?
obviously we screen people on calls, obviously. You know, just for a normal gas alarm over the weekend, you go out to a residence, you find that people just came back from Florida. You know, they traveled through whatever area, you take whatever precautions so that you're not touching stuff, you let them open the doors and whatever, and do what you have to do and go from there. But we're taking every precaution to keep our people safe and to keep the people that we deal with safe also, in case one of us ends up with something. It goes both ways. We'll continue with that.
So, on our schedule here, Karen, for some reason I got the personnel policy in front of me.
I actually, Phil and I spoke about that the other day, speaking about part-time sick leave, if due to the pandemic and things like that, if that's something that selectmen want to incorporate into the personnel policy.
I think we're doing that on a case by case. I mean, we voted a couple of weeks ago, maybe, or a week ago, to pay our part-time employees sick leave if they get sick.
Did we?
I thought we did.
Well,
No, we discussed it, I don't believe us.
yeah, it was, no, and I asked Karen to put the personnel policy in there. I don't know what it says, and so whatever we do is a change to the personnel policy, right?
All right.
I don't believe it deals with part-time.
Yeah.
Well, any employee that gets injured by the fire department, you file a claim on, and they're covered by insurance, right?
Yes,
Whether
well,
they're any
not any employee as far as it goes, but obviously if they're injured while doing their duty as far as the fire department, they would be covered for workers' comp. But as far as a part-time employee, I'm not thinking that it would be a person that has hours that are already in place. You know, for example, maybe the secretary at the police department that works guaranteed hours.
Exactly.
And if she is sick, you probably don't want her to come in. That's
Right, exactly.
I think that that's what we're talking about versus, you know, call people that might be sick and
Right.
probably shouldn't stay home. They're not gonna be paid for, you know, for that. Now, if they became sick as far as responding, you know, they were exposed to someone with that, that's something totally different.
So we
So we
pay,
don't have sick time for any employee that's working less than 35 hours a week.
No. When I was at the university, they had people that were on 8-month and 6-month contracts, and they had all the benefits, but they were prorated.
so do we, that's why I say I think we need to review the policy. You know, lots of places, vacation and sick time is commensurate with the level at which you work. In other words, you work full-time, you get vacation of whatever it is. You work part-time, you get vacation or whatever it is. But obviously you're not going to get as much vacation pay as somebody that works full-time because you're not a full-time employee. You work a regular schedule. So, and same with sick time. So that's why if we have nothing in there today about anything. Now, we do pay holidays for part-time.
No.
I think we had some disagreement on that at one point with an employee, and I don't know what we
Right.
did with it.
Right.
I understood no, but I haven't looked at it.
I don't know that we do pay holidays for
Pretty sure that that's.
part-time. Yeah, because we pay all your volunteer fire department holidays. Yeah, okay, so we need to review it, but I think that what's gonna happen is if we don't do something, we'd have to figure out what are these folks eligible for unemployment. Figure out what that figure is. And I hate to see I think our welfare budget's gonna get hammered anyway. And if we include it in that workers who get sick on the job, we may find ourselves a little bit on a hole.
There is our current policy manual says that issues arise, the selectmen are the arbitrators, which means we can negotiate.
Right, right.
Whatever.
So we need
But
to
our work.
familiarize ourselves with this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then be prepared, I guess. I mean, I don't know that workers' comp comes into it, because I think the workers' comp, because of our system, is essentially a private insurance company. They're gonna say, prove that you've got the virus at work, you know.
Karen has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hold on. Primex actually sent you folks something, it's in the main folder, I believe, or I don't know, I have a whole folder for that. They are offering compensation, I understand, quarantine, no.
Right.
If you get, is that the thing that you're saying change?
You have to be working, you know, it's for people that go out and get exposed. You gotta prove that it was here. You know, as far as town-wise, you can't be exposed out in the general public.
Okay,
At the grocery store.
Yes.
okay.
And that is their new policy. There's a policy as far as cleaning things in with that, and HIPAA policy as far as some information that just came
The HIPAA thing, I think, has to change a little bit,
Yeah, there's been.
because we're trying to track this business.
There's been quite a few changes with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So just for you guys to peruse. It'll probably change tomorrow.
I know,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if you have any recommendations, please, like you always do, you always tip us off, so.
Cell towers. We've got designs from, was it Tim Yee, is that his name? And have you seen this?
I have.
Okay. So that's for a proposed cell tower location at the current fire station. And
I think you had some questions.
I had a question in reference to the right of way that ran through the middle of the parking lot. Probably that should run up the other cut that they show going in. Because I wouldn't want to see cutting the parking lot up to put, wires in and things like that. But I figured that was just all preliminary and stuff that.
so they're looking at a utility easement that goes up the old driveway and 20-foot wide access and utility easement. See note 2.
Is that to bury wires, or are they gonna put utility poles in?
I would assume that it'd be to bury it.
When I looked at it, what I took away from it is it's underground. Yeah, they're gonna run underground, which is what you want.
Right.
But it would seem to me that you can run it in the same access easement. I understand why when you design it, you do shortest line of sight.
Right.
But I think that's something we can review and adjust with
So-
Mr. Yee when he comes in to meet with us.
You have a problem with this, but only the portion that's in your parking lot.
Right, as far as the
Okay, so
tower.
if we start their access there,
Yep.
they don't have any.
And as you go up,
Is this the access, or this is the utility over here?
Right, this is the access.
So they're saying I see.
Which access, that's not a problem. As far as
Right.
it goes.
As long as
As long as
there's
they're
no
not digging that up.
Well, that makes sense for an access. In other words, you want to stay on pavement as long as you can.
Right.
Then you take a
And
You're
dirt.
not invading. the
Right,
Right.
right. So,
Yep.
yeah, as long as there's no
As long as there's no rights to
rework.
dig up that.
Yeah. the
And
con-
is there any, you're a planning board member, is there any need for this site to have 50-foot access to the road?
I don't know. What I would recommend we do with these things as they go forward is that we take it to planning board, even though planning board doesn't have any authority
I
over it.
thought that was what needed to happen.
Right. I mean, because it belongs to the town, we don't have to comply with our own regulations for town-owned stuff.
So
But
we're just giving them the grounds. Is that what I'm understanding? They're not gonna own this.
they're gonna, no, they're gonna lease, they're gonna lease the ground.
Okay.
One of the things that I would suggest is that we get a hold of our attorney at DTC on utilities
Right.
and get smart on these cell tower leases.
Yeah.
What's a typical, they're gonna come to us with a lease, it's their normal lease, and they do lots of them, but it would be nice to have perspective from council on the other side as to
Good
what's.
So they're gonna write a lease in their favor.
Well, that's right.
We should take a look.
That's exactly right. So what's usual and customary, what kinds of things should we watch out for that they might try and slip in that are to their benefit and our detriment?
is that the only tower, or is there another tower where they gave us?
So there's another one at the
Highway garage.
highway garage. That's a little less of a problem as far as the right of way is concerned. It's gonna take a bit of doing. And it is gonna impact the storage space that the road agent has
In the back.
in the back.
Yeah.
Right there area. So we have to take a look at how that's gonna.
And also whether or not that's solid ground.
Mhm.
Pretty rocky too.
Right. Right, well, pretty much the only thing that worries about that is the monopole that's
Right.
sticking up in the air and
Right.
can go down
Right.
100 feet of cement if they need to.
You know about this stuff because you lived here your whole life.
Yeah, that's all Phil.
Or I guess it's sitting on a big pad.
Yeah, big cement. They put whatever it is that they need
To hold the pole up.
to hold the pole up.
Mhm.
Or
Right.
ballast.
And I'm sure that's all based upon borings and,
Yes.
so they know what the soil structure is like and everything underneath.
This is a 130-foot monopole at the highway garage.
And we have some pretty strict guidelines that the zoning has.
It's a 130-foot pole.
As far as heights and how those heights can be adjusted as far as, you know, things. I think that was all pretty well thought out once the tower went in Copeland Village.
I have a question.
Sure.
And it just dawned on me. There has to be a fall radius or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
a collapse radius.
That can be adjusted depending on the situation.
Well, my thought is that if the fall area includes a storage area and where people are being,
We have no problem with the fire station for the fall.
Right.
And that's well outside of any parking lot or building. As far as the,
You just have to look at the boundaries also.
yeah, I guess we'd have to move the one at the highway garage just a little bit. If it falls to the south, it's gonna nick the corner of our salt shed. But these are just proposals.
preliminary.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can find out where he's done business before, I'll go visit it. I think it's in Connecticut, so it will be a trip.
This is Yee.
Yes. Where else have they done towers? Because what I'm going to do
So is
is,
he separate from Verizon or?
I don't know.
I just think that they work for, you know, going out and finding different areas as far as different towns, different sites.
Yeah, he's a consultant.
And he's a consultant as far as locating it, getting everything in place for.
One of the questions I'll ask East Overshoot, Connecticut is, you've worked with this individual, he's built your 2 towers, would you do business with him again?
Well, and they're gonna throw a lot of hoo-ha at us about what they're gonna pay, premised upon the amount of usage and all of this other stuff, so we need to kind of bone up on.
If there's anyone who's become an expert on communications, it has been this guy here during his whole career.
But he has, yeah,
But I have limited. as far
and
as-
Adam has his needs, which is great, but he doesn't need to fill his head up with consumers and all the other telephone
Yes.
stuff.
Right.
And what are the other issues at hand? I only just want him to paint it dark green, but, because I don't even have a cell phone. But I don't want to see it.
Blue leaves on it.
The leaves don't matter so much as just the visual impact of it. But I think it's, when is Yee gonna come in, Karen?
I think the last I spoke with him was we were kind of waiting till this coronavirus thing subsided.
So it's next September.
Right.
All right.
It's not gonna be any time soon.
All right. So you're okay with the placement, provided there's some,
Something that says that we're not gonna
right.
Dig up the
dig
parking
up the
lot.
parking lot.
Right. Yeah, no, we're gonna dig up over here, and we're gonna maybe extend this road.
Right.
Because there's no road there now.
We do have it, so that you can travel across here.
Yeah.
That's not a ditch right there. But we did have the highway department at one point in time dump a load of gravel in there, in case we had to get the fire truck out this way and out through here if we got locked off. So, yeah. But, yeah, it's not really a road
No,
in the springtime.
yeah. All right. Anything else on cell towers?
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
How is the county and the state, is it E1 and then there's a cell tower and whatnot? Is that moving along slowly?
As far as the county mutual aid, as far as the radio updates, that's all being affected by the weather, obviously. It was being affected by the cell towers that were being built for all the communications, you know, the state is looking at putting in place. Because they were putting up towers for that whole first response project that is countrywide. It's my understanding that all the parts are there for the Thompson Hill new cell tower, not cell tower, but the new tower for Carroll County. But obviously with this weather, you're not going to go out there with cement trucks and stuff like that. So things are going to prolong, but it will take place. The E-lines and things like that for the fire station, they've all been through this whole process. But I'm thinking that, hopefully, if we're going this long, maybe that the stuff would be going up on the cell tower instead of, at the fire station. But, obviously with the whole pandemic thing, I'm not thinking that things are going to move that quickly to the cell tower side of stuff. So they will go up on our fire station where we currently have the antennas and things, and do as we normally do.
Well, with this project, you're gonna have options, aren't you?
Right.
Which is a good thing.
Yes. I'm hoping that it works. Hoping it works out for everyone as far as, because it is limited phone coverage and things like that. But as you have said, you have to be careful about looking at protecting the town also. Just because it's great for us to be able to get whatever up on the tower, it may not be so great for the town to have that tower, there in place. So you need to be able to optimize what the town is getting as far as money for it, and know all that ahead of time so that we're not just going off and going up.
Yeah.
Need to know all the downfalls also. But I would be happy to have that coverage. That would be nice.
I had another subject that has been a pet project of mine. I've been very pleased with the school that has the telephone alert system, and you have it in the fire department. I think it works well. I was wondering how much does that cost, because I was going to suggest that during this pandemic thing that we install it in town. So
for us it was $496.
would you
But I believe that it all depends on how many users and things like that.
And would you explain basically what it does?
So basically what we have is a company that is in place that, well, it's not going to work for you. Because you don't have a cell phone. But it would contact your home phone. We have a company that's in place that any messages that we want to give out to our personnel at the fire station, that sends messages to our cell phone, and it sends messages to the home phone. It calls them, you listen for the message that comes through, and it is limited on the amount of how long the message can be as far as it goes. We have a certain amount of characters that you can give, but Caleb does it all the time, every week for our trainings and things like that, so that we're not necessarily putting out a bunch of stuff over radio waves now, and people are getting the message more. But again, it was $496 a year for us. It takes some time to put things in place, and you need to know what carriers and things like that the different employees have.
So, and I'm guessing the cost is based at least in part on how many phones you want to contact, right?
Correct.
And who's providing, what do you pay the $495?
It's a company, I don't have it right in front of me. I think for us, it's called Blackboard or something along that line.
So you're suggesting as an availability to the town in general?
Yes. And, for example, you can be rather selective who you send it to, right?
Right.
I mean, you could just notify just your officers about something, or?
No. No, it goes out to everyone as far as that goes, that is in your
So if you sign 100 people up, it's gonna go to all 100?
Yes,
No.
that's correct.
Okay.
Because we actually had some people that were no longer with the department, they hadn't shut it off. And they were constantly getting messages until they shut it off, as far as it goes. So,
Has it been a useful tool?
yes, yeah, it works great as far as it goes.
And technology is always changing.
Now, you do need to have access to it, so like if it was on Karen's computer at work, she'd have to go into work.
Molten Borough has this for Molten Borough residents, sometimes we have a code red program.
Yes, that's something totally different as far as,
Well, the school district has it, I know, they have what they call a reverse 911 or something, so they can send information out to all of
people that
the
they have.
parents, right? So if school's closed today, that information goes out rather than having it just once.
Right, and that may be on a larger basis as far as town-wise, that the school thing may be something that you.
I think they do 4,000 in a matter of
But on a
20
smaller
minutes.
basis, the company that we use probably would be, for just employees.
Well, and your messages would probably be a lot more specific on a general, townwide alert,
Right.
which would probably include call your fire chief and ask him what the story is.
Call Selectmen Albee.
If you can.
Good luck.
Okay, anything else for the fire chief?
Nice job, thank you.
And we'll try to keep you updated with as much as possible for.
All right, good. Yep.
We still have no Chief Shigori. Continue to have no James Bean. So we're gonna drive on through to the signature line. First item for signature is a write-up calendar for Townhouse Cemetery Section CR lot number 1 through 4, 1 and 1 through 5.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next is, I'm sure that Selectmen would review these students that were questionable.
It's a work in progress.
All right, should we,
We need to delay sentence. We need to delay sending the letter until you finish it.
would you like to have us sign it? I don't have a problem signing it.
I have no problem signing it because I'm going to continue anyway.
Okay,
Karen, would you make sure I get another copy of the
I'll make a motion that we sign this letter to the
I'll
government.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want it to be held for now, or
Pardon?
did you want that to be held for now? The letter?
No, all that is notifying us and I'll go do my job.
Okay, so it's okay to send it to them?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we have everybody's wage change. Is that what this is?
Yep.
Okay. And the only selectman who hasn't signed this is me. But do we want to vote on this, or
We already did.
do we?
Huh.
Probably individually at least.
Well, this is part of what we put in the budget for this year. So,
I'll sign that at the end of the day. Correspondence.
Before you begin with correspondence, can I give you some?
Sure.
Remember Ray Everest? We sent a letter, thank you.
Right. He's in North Carolina.
Yes, he is in 1834 Gray Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Ahoy, Lloyd. I received an extremely warm letter from you and the, quote, town of Tuftonboro, and do thank all of you. It meant a lot, my best Ray. He is continuing to work, doing some remote computer work for the conservation. So thank you again, Ray. Thank you, Mrs. Chairman.
Okay. Do we have one of these selections updates? Do we have anything? I'm here all the time.
I don't know if we have anything new since Friday.
You have something?
Building cleanup programs.
What, I'm sorry?
Cleaning the buildings.
Right.
We've had a number of people sick. We've had a couple people visit the hospital, especially with the current situation. I think that the transfer station and the police department need to be cleaned ASAP.
Well, I know that we mentioned it to the chief of police, and I think you mentioned it to Clay this morning, but I'm wondering who we're gonna get in this time of maximum cleaning. You're bringing someone in from outside the cleaning?
Yes, at the transfer station, there's already money put aside, and there was a contractor that Clay and I met with last year, cleaning service, the same guy who does the fire station. I can get more information. The other thing
I
is,
mean, if they have the money in their budget, then let's just, our assumption is all we need to do is direct them to spend the money in their budget.
right, the other thing is that Andy got the name of a company that will do a thorough cleaning and disinfecting and all that. If there ever was an office in a building that needs to be cleaned for a number of reasons, that's one of them.
Yeah, my concern is that those cleaning companies are gonna be pretty stressed because everybody wants a lot of places cleaned now. So, I mean, we're not the biggest fish out there, but I certainly encourage them to.
I'm just gonna add for you, I put it in just this morning, I saw a commercial for a company called NCT. I don't know anything about them at all, but they're advertising for cleaning of the virus and stating that it will keep things disinfected for 90 days. I'm not sure if it's something you're interested in. Because I know normally, you know, if someone touches it 1 second later, it's.
Yeah, how can they guarantee that?
I don't know that. I
Well,
don't.
what
Sounds good.
It sounds good.
I'm a little suspect of this particular used car. I guess.
Oh, but sir, it's the best car that's ever come in.
Yeah, and it's a little old lady owned it on Sundays.
Yeah,
So I'd encourage you to talk to Clay and the next time we hear from the
He
chief.
said he can make it happen.
Yeah,
I'd be glad to work with him
well, he doesn't, again, he runs that department, and he's got the,
very effectively.
yeah.
and
I
he's
mean,
he's got the resources to get it done, so.
The other complex needs to get done for a number of reasons.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting, I mean, obviously the chief's not here to defend whatever position he wants to take, but
I want to work with him.
our job is to provide him with the
Resources to get it
resources,
done.
and his
Yeah.
job is to get it done.
Yeah, and I do remember when we talked about it Friday, that quote that he got, that's for like way over the top stuff.
Yeah.
And he did say, hey, that's not appropriate to what we're talking about here. So.
Well, yeah, I don't want him to not do it because he's got an excuse because everybody's busy, but I think he could at least get in the queue.
I'm willing to negotiate.
All right.
The next thing is, I'd like to ask do we need to have a conversation about finalizing the master plan? I'd like to read this into the record. I'm trying to be balanced in my approach and not creating a drama, but a legal and appropriate master plan is the linchpin of things like CIP, which is in turn legally required for users' fees and other revenue strategies. There does not seem to be any funds spent in the last 2 years by the planning board for work on this project for clerical work. Until this pandemic, I said I would like to suggest that the Board of Selectmen meet with Lakes Region Planning Director Jeff Hayes and Planning Board Chairman Matt Young. I would think that perhaps a brief meeting at some point would be appropriate. My observations are that both Matt and Jeff are problem solvers, and I have found them to be fair and reasonable to work with.
Well, I'd be more than happy to let the new chairman set that meeting up. I don't know that the whole board needs to be involved. We just need to give somebody a little twist. And I think Bill's been pretty forthcoming about
Yes, he has.
their efforts. And I'm not certain, given the current work schedule that's being put in place around the world here, we're gonna get the product we want in any big hurry. But we'll see. Anything else?
Do we put on hold the property cleanups that our lawyer's been involved in? Is that a non-emergency or?
No, it's not a cleanup. I mean, that's not, in my view, it's not a hold.
Yeah.
You know, it's starting to be good weather, and the Jack has really worked wonders on a number of
Yep.
projects, but there's some
I-
others where there's some
I haven't heard
challenges.
any suggestion that we ought to ignore it.
Yeah, we
I don't
haven't
think
been
we should.
asked.
Right.
Right. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and the communications, there's a CBA meeting on April 15th in Moultonborough with regards to a outdoor shooting range that's being proposed at 1277 Governor Wentworth Highway, tax map 183 lot 1. I'm not certain where that is.
It's across from Ball Peak.
So it's in the old Whitman property, Wilfred Whitman. And a cow that lived inside of it.
That's well before my time, anyway. This is-
Somewhere up there.
All right. I imagine they're still gonna have this. Do we wanna attend, perhaps, one of us attend?
How does it affect Tufton Borough? Is this just a courtesy?
It's,
Or is there some legal?
well, I think the reason that they're doing this is because it's in the vicinity of the town line, and the issue is noise.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So there's, I'm not certain that we have standing,
uh,
other than through,
my guess is we have the same opportunity that anybody else in the public does to show up and voice our opinion.
I mean, personally, my position is, I would like to have a couple of shooting ranges established somewhere so that people aren't firing rounds out their backyard at 1,000 rounds a day, which happens on Lynch Hill Road on a
Yes.
number of occasions.
Yeah,
There used to be a guy next to your sister.
It
That was-
still is across the street. You know, if they have somewhere else to go and shoot their guns, that would make me
Right.
happy.
I know there's one as you go further up in Moultonborough.
the sportsman's club.
Right, and I also have clients that abut the one in New Durham,
Right.
and seems to be a safe area.
I did happen to, moving on, I did happen to watch the Senate testimony on broadband access. I can't tell by watching how the vote's gonna go. I just can't.
Yeah,
You know, they say one thing and then they vote another way. So there are a couple other,
as is often the case, it's not what you see in the public
Yeah.
sessions that
right.
that makes a difference. It's the arm twisting and the conversations that occur.
Down in the cafeteria.
Yeah, that occur.
There was another one that I was going to watch, but I haven't yet, is relative to municipal regulation, vacation or short-term rentals. Airbnb is becoming an issue throughout the land. I don't believe any of the Airbnb operations around here are paying any rooms and meals. You know, they're just taking advantage. And I think the old Sims house got bought specifically to be an Airbnb destination.
Might be.
So,
I heard the same rumor.
yeah. Anyway,
Well, as you know, the planning board is looking at putting something on the ballot next year.
Mhm.
And planning board council was supposed to come
right.
the first meeting in March. That's now in May. He's coming to talk about that, give us some context on what's going on in other communities, et cetera.
I don't know, I guess you all read the letter from Tyler Phillips with regard to the pier at 19 Mile Bay. It seems that DES is willing to have sheet piling around the earthen portion,
But not on the
not on
concrete.
the concrete, which I almost think they're splitting nets or whatever they do. We need to make the whole pier workable.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, we've got plenty of time on our hands now. I don't know that we'd ever get a hearing with the governor's council, but maybe we go back to the drawing board and say, okay, we're gonna get a grant right, and we're gonna do exactly what we're gonna fucking do. Excuse me. I mean, I got one sense from Rainey Pelletier when he was at the meeting at the pier, that everything was gonna just move along fine, and that we were gonna present him with 3 options or more, and that whatever the most viable option monetarily and aesthetically would be the one that we'd want and that they would want. And now all of a sudden we're, okay, yeah, you can have your sheet piling, but you can't have as much as you want, and you can't do this and you can't do that. We don't want an awning out there on the end of the pier because, I don't know, it attracts seagulls. Whatever, for whatever reason, they're pushing back a little bit.
And no dredging.
So,
And no dredging, right?
I mean, what's the issue with them other than power issues? But
I have no idea.
so, I know Tyler went back when we asked about extending it, and this was beyond what they talked about before. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you've worked with Tyler on this thing. Maybe a phone conversation with him to
Yeah.
get some sense for what the,
Yeah.
you know, what's
Yeah, I'll
the
find out.
context of why we can't tie it all in.
And maybe the bigger picture, maybe we're pushing a little too hard on the rapid infiltration basin.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like that. So who knows?
It's called
Political-
linkage, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
political stuff. All right, I'll get a hold of Tyler and see if we can figure something
A little
out.
more information, yeah.
New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank is offering 1.47% for 10 years, 1.83% for 15 years, 2.15 for 20. Whether we want 20-year money just seems silly. So if we're planning a project, now's the time to schedule a payment, estimated payment. I'm not sure we're ready to schedule projects yet, but we're getting close. So everything slows down during the pandemic.
the other thing is, you never know that there's a stimulus package that lowers the interest rate.
Yeah, the Fed's down to 0 right now, or down close to it. I've got a copy of the bridge inspection reports. Canberra is saying no posting recommended. High Street over the Melbourne River, no posting recommended. Tuftonboro, Neck Road E2 weight limit. Whatever E2 weight limit is. And I've got a list of town-owned property, and, because I was asked, we wanted that warrant article passed, are we planning on selling anything? We've got a couple of pieces that we could look at. There's a piece of Mountain Shadows, 2 in Tuftonboro Colony.
Yeah, those are, as I remember, the ones up there are not buildable. That's why we ended up
Non-conforming.
So.
But it may be that the landowner next door wants to.
Well,
I don't know.
before I was selectman, and you were selectman, remember in Hidden Valley, there were non-conforming lots?
Yeah.
And you guys did a wise thing. If the 2 abutters wanted to
Right.
share some costs, you know, you got them back on the tax rolls.
And I don't know how, I look at the tax map and I enjoy having you guys look at it on the Ernest Piper lot. How big that is? Because it seems like it's.
It's just where that little park is, right, at that corner?
You know, that's not the way I saw it on the map, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, Yeah.
It seemed as though it went further inland, further out towards the neck. But,
Piper was the proprietor of the store there, down across from the church, right?
right.
I remember.
All right.
Trivia.
So,
You know how he saved
We
his
have-
money? By
we have-
putting it in books.
2 lots that we took this past year, the one on Federal Corner and the one on Mountain Shadows.
Right.
And so I don't know if 2 lots, and there's
Well-
some suggestion that the owner on Federal Corner may want to redeem a lot. So it may make sense not to schedule
Right.
an auction.
Right. I think the only reason we pulled the list was to
Yep,
take a look,
right, exactly.
see what we can come up with.
Well, and after May, we'll have some more, I'm sure. We always do.
Okay, Karen has registered herself to the Cyber Summit Managing Cybersecurity Risk for Local Government, scheduled for September 1st. Hopefully we're all alive and well on September 1st. And,
Are you feeling that so well?
you never know.
No, you don't, that's right. Walk out in front of the car tomorrow and it's,
That's right.
Would that be done during the day or nights? Or?
Oh, I'm sorry, did I not read the time?
Is that 1 o'clock, I think?
it's a daytime.
I think it's daytime. It doesn't say a time. Same on
Does
the-
that mean having someone in the office or helping you do
Anytime.
some of your workload or? what would
Oh,
you
thank you,
anticipate?
I'm not sure, but I appreciate that, I'll look into
Yeah,
that.
it's online summit, so.
Oh, that one is? Oh, I thought it was.
No, I
in
thought it
Concord.
was,
Does it say?
yeah, it was at Gravoni Center.
Oh, that's right, you register online, sorry.
And what's the course you're interested in and how is it job related?
Cybersecurity,
This is
so,
strictly about managing cybersecurity
It's
risk
needed.
for local government.
It's needed, thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's an excellent idea as long as we can.
It is at 1 PM, 1 PM to 4:30 PM. Wait, I gotta read this stuff. All right, Michael O'Donnell. This is regarding a crosswalk at the Pier 19 store.
yeah, I understand the new owner, right, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, right, was advised by the planning board to reach out and see if they should have one, is that correct, to the state?
Right, the attachment provides documentation of the town's request.
Yeah.
and
Now, there's
DOT's response.
a folder on this because there was an individual that was willing to pay $10,000
Yeah,
and then at
that's
the
right.
last minute, no. and
I didn't know if you
town
folks
meeting.
want to continue to pursue that? or
Well,
drop
you know,
it?
I think somebody's gonna get hurt down there now that they're opening up again. You got all that traffic and you got a beach on the other end of the bay, or the other side of the bay, on the other side of the road.
Yep.
I mean, either slow the traffic down or put a crosswalk in or do something before some kid gets hurt.
I'll continue to pursue it. That sounds good.
Might want to review what the state had to say before about the 40-mile-an-hour zone, and there's an intersection
yeah.
there. This is an editorial comment.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like the wharf. The state likes to raise all these issues.
Okay. I think you might have mentioned this new technology.
I don't, you probably haven't noticed, I have, that there's a point at which south of Alton where people get significantly smarter than those people who are in local government up here in the woods.
Yes.
We got a request for nomination for the 2020 annual awards for community service at Sepulveda. And I'm sure we can come up with somebody to nominate for excellence awards and community service. We can talk about that in a moment.
Also give a copy to Steve Wingate because he's one of the,
Okay.
on the board of Lakes Region Planning.
Okay, we had talked about having a meeting with David Alwine with regard to the landfill gas monitoring. He wants to postpone that meeting due to the virus. Yeah, another email from the Carroll County Broadband Initiative talking about this pandemic may bring home the need for having the infrastructure in place, especially in-home schooling.
Yep.
Which is going to become a real issue. And
I'll mention again that the petition is now available online.
online.
So anybody that's a co-op customer, just go to the, Karen, you might be able to put that up on the on the town's website, so that complete with the link that you can click to.
Yeah.
And then,
I just want to check with you folks first, that's all.
yep, then you click on it and you have to put your name as it appears on your electric bill, and the service address, and then your vote. And that just allows them to verify that you're in fact a member. So it makes it easy to get it done.
And you've got plenty of time, because you don't have to go to work. So while you're out there, do your census as well, so we can get all those things at
Yeah.
once.
There is an online tracker on the 2020 census, and as of Friday night, 4% of Tufton Borough's residents had responded. So it's a start.
Yeah, I haven't responded yet, I'm sorry. I'm in that 96%. I'll do it today, Bill, all right?
Well, or let Pam do it. She's more.
I know she's smarter.
She's more technologically engaged than you are, right?
All right, New Hampshire Electric Co-op has sent us, I'm gonna let Selectman Wood deal with the police questions that he asked, that the chief, I guess, has responded to in here.
Yes.
Are those responses sufficient?
Well, I'll get my calculator out. No.
Okay.
And the selectmen are the arbitrators.
Right. Do you want to speak to that now?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
This is the time slip from 2 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and this is public information.
This is on,
3/11/20. I think an officer has put down vacation time and doesn't need to.
are you talking about Sergeant Hathcott?
Yes,
And that was on,
3/11/20.
I'm sure on 3/7, he's got a vacation, 8 hours.
On the first page, that was a typo.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
This page here, gentlemen, disinfected calculator, follow through.
All right.
3/11/20, 8 hours. 3/6, 8 hours. I'll skip over 3/7, vacation, but 3/9, 3 hours. 3/10, 12.5 hours.
Okay, the 3/9, I've got down here as training.
That's right, but it's straight time.
Why wouldn't training be straight time?
He worked a day, he worked 3 hours of training, he gets his hourly rate,
Yeah.
correct?
Hold on, what are you saying? That if
If
he
you
comes
come-
in for 3 hours of training, he gets the whole 8-hour day?
No, he gets 3 hours.
Right, that's what he got here.
That's right.
Okay,
Then the next day, he works 12.5 hours,
right,
okay? On 3/11, he works 9 hours.
right.
That adds up to 40 hours, 40.5 hours. Okay so far?
Yeah, but what you're adding in is the 3 hours of, or no, the vacation time, wasn't it?
No, I did not add up the vacation time.
All right.
Have I confused you?
Yeah, you're at 48.5,
I'm at 40.5
40.5.
without adding the vacation time.
Okay.
Okay so far? He doesn't need to take any vacation time. He's over his 40 hour.
Okay, but if he chooses to take vacation time, that's fine, right?
For what?
Maybe it's a day that he was scheduled to work,
Okay.
that he's not there, so he takes vacation day, somebody else covers it.
I don't have a calendar in front of me. 3/5 to 3/11, is that a work week?
Yes,
Okay, so that's a structured work week.
yes.
And during that time, he's taking 8 hours of vacation time
That's right.
for,
He's already put his 48 hours plus in.
right,
Oh, okay, so if an employee chooses to take vacation during the week when on a day they were scheduled to work,
Yes,
then they can take it, right?
yes, he can ask for
but
a
are
day
you
off.
saying it pushes overtime?
No.
No,
No,
what I'm saying
it
is,
doesn't affect anything
what
within his check.
he said is, I don't want to work 3/7, but he made it up somewhere else in that work week. He put 40.5 hours in of scheduled, approved time.
But it doesn't make any difference if he wants to take a vacation day, it doesn't change his pay any, right?
No, he gets paid a day's vacation.
Right. And one of the days that he's entitled to this year.
I go to the policy manual, he's already put his 40+ hours in that week.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to take any vacation
I
time.
know,
or sick
we're not
time.
saying he has to. What we're saying is that there was an election made. And that's, I mean, I don't have him or the chief here in front of me, so I don't know.
So
exactly.
let's say that the day that he took vacation was the day that he was scheduled to work, but he couldn't be here, so he took vacation to not be here. Somebody else took the shift, so he takes vacation.
Yes,
So,
but he made up for it in his regular work week.
He did, but I'm not sure that
I mean,
Okay,
you are an employee.
what.
I don't want you docked a vacation day when you've already worked your 40-hour work
Okay,
week.
who put the 8 hours down here on this slip?
I assume he did.
Okay, so then the question has to be answered from him. Why do you need the 8 extra 8 hours? It could be a,
from our standpoint, that makes no difference, okay?
yeah.
He's not collecting extra money that he's not entitled to. He's taking one of his however many days he has of vacation entitled in the year, and he's using it during that week.
Yes.
And he's working a full week's worth of regular hours. There's a reason that he put it on there.
Yes.
We don't know what the reason is. I don't think it was a mistake.
I guess my advice would be, if you, and I'm gonna say it's gonna have to be you, because you originated the question. If you were to talk to the sergeant and figure out why that's there, you know, why did he take a vacation day? It's gotta be our policy that these guys need time off.
Yes, they
I don't
do.
want them just cashing in on their vacation and working 48 hours a week. That doesn't
I agree.
work.
I agree.
And it's a bad management policy. So I guess I'd ask, or satisfy your question by asking Sergeant Hathcock.
Correct. My
What his
role,
reasoning was.
my role is honorable. I'm like an ombudsman for our employees. And I say to them, hey, wait a minute, you've already put your 40 hours
But
in.
I think he would know that, but maybe he didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, thank you. And last week, if you'll notice, I left a memo, there were no time slips.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of the job performance.
New Hampshire Electric Co-op is rapidly adapting to the changes brought on by the pandemic. The highlighted lines here, the ones I'm going to read. To assist our members who are struggling financially due to this pandemic, New Hampshire Electric Co-op is suspending late payment charges and service disconnects for non-payment. The governor encouraged that sort of action. Members who are having difficulty paying their bills are encouraged to contact New Hampshire Electric Co-op through our website or calling 1-800-698-2007 to learn about bill assistance programs, special payment arrangements, and community support services that are available. The town offices are closed until further notice due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Transactions for emergency situations are by appointment only. Please call 569-4539. If you would like to use the drop box inside the lobby to leave payments or paperwork for office personnel, please do so. We will check this box regularly. We apologize for the inconvenience.
And I would suggest that the wording is a little different than what I understood we approved last week. And that is that we're asking people to call for an appointment, but not for emergency, for any transaction. In other words, business goes on as usual at the town office. The only thing we've done is we've altered it so that we don't have gatherings of large numbers of people. So if you need to come in and see Karen or the tax collector or the town clerk, you call ahead and set a time so that we don't end up with a big crowd of people in there dealing with whoever they need to deal with.
Well, that was my understanding.
And not as much as you can.
And right, and not just
remotely.
Right, and not just emergency. So I think we ought to correct this line in there. You know, again, we're not trying to restrict business. We're just trying to do it in a way that's healthier for everybody involved.
Is there anything in the notice about using our online services as well?
The what?
Was there anything in there about please utilize our online services
No.
if possible? Should I add something like that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. Right.
Could I ask a question on this subject? Would it be appropriate, we have the deadline for the newspaper submissions hasn't been made yet.
Right, we have today, yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. We now have talked to all department heads. It's business as usual. It's call forward. Is there something that be crafted, and even if we have to pay the ad fee, put it in the paper? And if it has to be a half page or something like that, then my thought is that can be copied and blown up and it would list the numbers. And I mean, I suppose we could go ad infinitum. You know, some of our departments aren't open 24/7. So,
Right.
you know, do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, if you'd like me to do that. I have another thing written up as an example with the different departments, and I'm trying to think about how to do this. I know our phone reading says what people's extension numbers are. I guess I'm wondering how big you want this ad to be. Do you want it to say every department, every hour, their hours and their extensions?
I think
or just
that's,
what's written there?
I think that's a little cumbersome.
Okay, I wasn't sure what you meant.
But what I'm thinking is if it's something this size, I can cut it out, put it on my refrigerator. We already do it for dump hours. There's a certain copy out.
I don't think we need to put a notice in the paper. I think on the website, you know, on the doors, if we want to stick them up at the post offices, places that people.
I'll compromise.
That one is presently on the top doors, of course.
Right.
So this is on the doors?
It is.
So I think if I were going to change the transactions for emergency line, I would delete from 4 emergency situations are by appointment only, and change it to transactions which require personal interaction with a town employee or elected official will be by appointment only. Please call our offices 569-4539.
Okay.
And then during that call, probably 99% of what needs to be said is going to be said over the phone.
Right.
Yes.
And some of those appointments will happen and some of them will just get resolved that
Right.
way. and then add something after the phone number about our website or the ability to do transactions online.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
Karen?
right.
No, that's reasonable.
Many forms and transactions can be done online
Mhm.
or by mail.
Mhm.
So,
That's good to
yeah.
know. That's true.
Okay, and as Selectman Markson mentioned, the broadband initiative is online now, and there's a little blurb about elections that are coming up in New Hampshire Electric Co-op.
Do you have any
So
family
over
members?
100 electric cooperatives across the country are actively involved in facilitating affordable plus or minus $60 a month high-speed plus or minus 100 megabytes per second up and down fiber to the home. Should New Hampshire Electric join those cooperatives? Oh yes, that's our. I'm sorry, Louis. Okay, Tuftonboro Times is coming right up. Didn't I do the last one?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You guys can toss a coin once you do the last one.
I'll do it.
Okay, it's due on April 3rd, spring edition. Brooks Construction, I will reach out again to the nursery and check. This is about nursery stock that's going in 19 Mile Bay. If the selectmen would like me to come to meet, I'd be happy to do so once the frost and now more snow coming today. Is that today?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
In Chanel,
Tonight.
tonight.
Most of it's tonight,
Jesus.
quite a bit.
I don't want to hear about that.
I know.
And then they'll talk about plant materials. So I guess sometime later in the month, we'll talk to Brooks about coming in for a update on 19 Mile Bay.
You can also talk to him about the ramp.
Right.
And he's also going to seal in between the large cement blocks.
Okay, pursuant to RSA 3195B, Roman numeral 3, parent A, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public information meeting on the proposed police station project and the application for a United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development Authority grant. It is,
I've read that a couple times too, but it makes sense when you get
It
to the
doesn't.
sentence. I know, I
it
did the
is
same thing.
an opportunity.
I did the same thing.
What happened to Ann? To
Read the whole
become,
sentence and see what you think, because the lady approved it, and I did the same thing. as
it
you
is
did.
opportunity to become, Jesus, what's happened to America?
Okay.
To
I
become
thought it was kind of
acquainted
funny.
with the proposed project and to comment on such terms as economic, environmental impacts, service area alternatives to the project, and or any other issue identified by rural development. The hearing will be held on Monday, April 6th at 9 a.m. at the Townhouse, right here, 247 Middle Road, Center, Tuftonboro. And she's already got Lloyd Wood as chairman.
Well, I kind of figured
I
that would
didn't
happen.
see that happen.
I can change that sentence if you want to.
Yes.
Do you want me to change that sentence?
No, not change a thing. Okay, why choose us? This is NCT, I think this is the cleaning company.
Yeah, that's that place I mentioned, yeah.
So, this is from Karen. Did you see this?
Not yet,
Okay.
but she told me.
I mean, I'm a little concerned that there are charlatans out there in the cleaning world. So let's check references and choose people who are going to try
That
to
makes
make some
sense.
money. Any other business? Do you have anything else in correspondence?
About some public input.
No public yet.
You were at your chance at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, you had your chance.
Yeah, but a few people just raised all kinds of questions.
All right, I'll go to public input.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Question starts with Bill. the planning board, I realized, was canceled this past week.
Right,
We understand why.
yeah.
Future meetings, okay, with Leanne, they will be here. Would they be here, obviously, instead of down at the townhouse?
I don't know that for sure. It is my recommendation that all public meetings in the town that we're doing now be done here, just so people can spread out a little bit more.
And question 2, on May 7th, on this B&B stuff, there was supposed to be a speaker, at least it was proposed to be scheduled for May 7th. Will that be put off for the future? Airbnb, whatever you want to call it. We were
You
supposed
mean
to have a speaker.
beyond May 7th?
Well, last I heard it, I thought it was May 7th.
Yes, right,
Is it still scheduled?
yes, as
Oh,
far as I know.
okay.
Why would it not be?
Last but not least, we go through this, you know, I've been here as long as most of you have been, except Lloyd.
Longer than some of us, yeah.
That is long.
The master plan,
Sir,
okay? Now, I've been in several meetings in the past for the planning board and everything else, and I know Leanne was working with people at the locations and stuff. They either get back to her, they didn't get back to her, we didn't push it forward. It seems to me, I'm getting tired of it after a while, just one person. You get these people here that we hire to complete this stuff and just get it done. Instead of, we keep putting, I don't know what we're paying for it, you said there's money in there, more money in it to finish it. I thought we were almost to the end of it, okay? But it just seems to get dropped off after a while. And until someone comes up, like Lloyd's continuation, I'll talk to some people about it. What happened to the people in the past that we already paid money for? They were supposed to be getting back. Did they leave? Did they leave the group that we were working with to complete this?
We don't know.
the work that has been done and paid for is done, all right? There is some work left to do that we have on a contract with Lakes Region Planning, that the individual over there that's responsible for doing that work continues to push when they're going to have it done for us, date out. So in my view, we got one of two choices. Either we periodically poke them about it and get a flurry of promises, which then don't happen, or we fold the tent with them and we shop and find somebody else to do it and start a new contract.
What this comes about is like talking to Spectrum, okay? It's the same thing, like, we got a contract with you. How about it? Oh, we're gonna get to it, we're gonna work on it. I mean, we're just not getting anything back and forth all the time.
Right.
Just finish it. I mean, by the time we get around to finishing it, it's gonna be what, 10 years again, and we're gonna have to do it all over again. That's just my comment, only because I sit here and I listen to it all the time. That's
And,
all. All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
I don't disagree with you. It's,
Add public comment to the agenda for the planning board. And then, I mean, that's the place you gotta talk to them.
yeah, it is.
So.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we were gonna do reviews, but the reviews people aren't here.
I did tell them they'd probably be spacing. Do you want me to ask Alan to come back?
One thing, yeah, would you mind?
No, not at all.
One thing I'd like to add to this agenda for next time is this notion of creating a committee that would help us out with the 19 North Brook.
Yep.
I have a thought on that.
I do too.
I'm sure you do. So
Yes.
I'd like to add it to the agenda.
Yep.
So that will give you an opportunity to speak your opinions.
Yeah.
Could I make a suggestion that starting our next meeting that we reverse Selectmen's update and correspondence? Because I know sometimes I'll bring an issue up and it's really in correspondence. And,
You can run it any way you want.
okay, well, it's a
Sure.
cooperative
Do it.
effort.
I mean, you're the major donor.
Thank you.
After all, you get funny little hats. So I guess I'll make a motion that we take the public meeting to a close. Do you
You
want
wanna
to
go
make
in?
a move to go into non-public?
Well, we have reviews to do, but we don't have people here, so.
I actually, I want to, do you want to have a review too, or do you want to do mine first?
I mean, I'm happy to do it another time, either way.
I didn't hit send yet on Adam, so there's something else.
How about compromising? and
Just
get
go into
one of them out of the
non-public.
way?
Make it easy.
None of them on the way?
How about compromising? and
Okay,
getting
then
one
let's
out
go
of the
into-
way?
I'm happy to do both of them, but we got none of the guys here, so I don't want to wait here a half hour while somebody comes. That's my point.
Can we do Karen? Or we've already done
We
it?
d- Yeah, we did.
Oh, no,
Karen.
I have, well, my, this.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hallelujah.
Hey,
Thank
it's
you.
government.